I'm Chris, and in this episode, Australia lost its balls to Chinese Navy, and Trump lost his mind to Chinese investments, and China has become the second largest medical innovation center in the world. First, let's dive into the warm South Pacific. On February 21st and 22nd, the Chinese Navy conducted two live-fire exercises in the international waters between Australia and New Zealand. By Western standards, military drills in international waters with prior notices are not just normal, but essential for safeguarding freedom of navigation. But they seem to have a problem when it was China who tries to have a shot at a noble task. For instance, US news agency Associated Press News falsely claimed that the airliners were warned of flying over a secret live-fire exercise. In contrast, the Sydney Morning Herald reported that the Australian military detected the ships a week before the exercise, and that China had issued safety warnings in advance to airlines including Qantas, Jetstar, Virgin, and Emirates. These details are available to the public and not hidden behind any paywall. The Chinese Navy's planned exercise was communicated through radio broadcasts, meaning anyone with access to radio, whether fishermen, pilots, or divers, could receive the notice. It's baffling how AP News can call it a secret. What's even more perplexing is the reaction from certain Australian politicians. Shadow Minister for Defense Andrew Hastie labeled the Chinese military exercise as a provocation. Meanwhile, Andrew Wallace, the Deputy Chair of the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security, pointed out the hypocrisy of Australia criticizing China's actions while conducting some military operations far from its shores. For those at the AP News who may have missed the secret, on February 7th, warships from the US, the Philippines, Japan, and Australia participated in a joint maritime exercise in the South China Sea. On February 11th, an Australian military aircraft entered Chinese airspace over the Shisha Islands without permission. As Wallace put it, "We can't talk about freedom of navigation in the South China Sea and then criticize China over an exercise like this." They haven't done anything wrong. And interestingly, Hastie also accused Beijing of using gunboat diplomacy to test US allies such as Australia. It's a curious statement though, considering that while Australia has tried hard to prove its loyalty to the United States, the US has never truly regarded Australia as an equal ally. Australia, a member of AUKUS, an alliance built on contract of dealing second-hand nuclear submarines. To obtain 3 US Virginia-class submarines, Australia will spend a staggering $368 billion. But despite Australia's lofty expectations, a report published by the US Congressional Budget Office in January, titled An Analysis of the Navy's 2025 Shipbuilding Plan, states that the larger Columbia-class SSBNs are US Navy's highest acquisition priority. And a sale of SSNs to Australia could reduce the number of attack submarines available to the Navy, which translates as, "We're busy, don't come bother us, just wait." Australian Greens Senator David Shoebridge called the report damning, arguing it further demonstrates that Australia's nuclear submarine plans are unraveling. Even though Australia has already invested about $3 billion in the first 4 years, the US shipbuilding industry is nowhere near producing enough nuclear submarines to meet the demand, with no clear solution in sight. And buying submarines is not ordering Panda Express, and it's hard to find an alternative supplier, especially after they tore up the contract with France in 2021. On February 22nd, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reiterated that China had adhered to the international law, emphasizing that no Australian assets were in danger. Defense Minister Richard Marles also clarified that Chinese ships did not enter Australia's territorial waters. New Zealand PM Christopher Luxon also said on February 24th that there is nothing illegal here in terms of they are compliant with international law. However, he added, "We'd appreciate a little bit more advance notice." Sure thing, mate, but what matters the most here is getting used to it. As the PLA Navy continues to make strides in the deep blue, drills in the high seas will become more frequent. So don't be surprised. Next up, a not surprised move from Mr. Trump. On February 21st, Donald Trump signed an order directing the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States to restrict Chinese investments. Reuters reports this aim to safeguard U.S. national interest. Yet, some argue it could lead to significant losses for American companies and citizens. Forbes suggests that as of 2023, Chinese companies had poured roughly $53 billion into U.S. facilities. The U.S.-China Business Council estimates these investments supported 229,000 American jobs, though that figure reflects earlier highs. The Rhodium Group notes that during Trump's first term, his trade war slashed Chinese investment from $46 billion in 2016 to under $5 billion by 2022. Job numbers tied to these investments fell to around 197,000 by 2018. Critics argue American citizens will shoulder the cost of Trump's protectionist stance, and his second-term trade war too will worsen the trend. Trump's policies could also deal a blow to Wall Street. Reuters reports he's eyeing tighter restrictions on U.S. investments in China's tech sector. Yet, the American Chamber of Commerce in China's latest survey shows nearly half of U.S. companies still rank China among their top 3 global investment destinations. The rise of DeepSeek has sparked growing global investor interest in China, with Chinese tech stocks climbing since early 2025. Jeff Vinegar, an equity strategist at Wisdom Tree, claims the top 10 Chinese high-tech firms have outpaced U.S. giants like Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla. A February 5th Deutsche Bank report highlights Chinese companies' leadership across industries, touting their superior investment value. If Trump keeps tightening investment restrictions on China, U.S. firms could lose ground to competitors from the Global South. Still, while some American investors struggle to profit in China, Elon Musk's Tesla continues to thrive there. Proof the rules don't bind everyone. Okay, moving on February 21st, the Global Times reported that China has emerged as the world's second largest hub for medical innovation. According to a report from China's National Medical Products Administration, the country has greenlit 48 innovative drugs for market entry, targeting critical illnesses like ovarian cancer, diabetes, stroke, and other chronic conditions. This progress promises improved health outcomes and economic benefits, not just for China, but for the world. This shift enables China's healthcare system to lean on domestic products over pricey imports, saving money for its people. Take atopic dermatitis treatment. US and EU drugs have long ruled, with a single dose averaging around $2,200. And enter Keymed Biosciences, a Chinese firm, with its innovative drug Stepokibart, priced below $180 per dose. This steep cost drop eases patients' financial strain and vastly improves access to effective care. This doesn't spell doom for Western researchers' jobs. Quite the opposite. China's ascent is sparking global opportunities. Take Hengrui Medicine. Since 2011, it's won approval for 22 new drugs in China and is charging onto the world stage. With over 90 innovative products in development and nearly 400 clinical trials worldwide, Hengrui's R&D hubs span China, the US, Switzerland, and beyond. Its global R&D team now tops 5,500, over a quarter of its workforce, fueling both Chinese farmers' edge and the broader industry's growth.
偷偷告诉大家，我最近发现了新法宝 Royal Face 逆时奇迹系列，它有活肤露、全效精华，还有精华霜。尤其我皮肤比较偏干，所以我非常的注重保湿。保湿做得好，肌肤自然烹润。提亮肤色更年轻，抚平皱纹超有感，而且气色变好。用心保养，每天都更美一点。美吧。